oh, these, you could assume that we pre-gamed, and we wouldn't have. That's just the content.
We're dumbasses. That makes people think we're drunk. I'm not drunk. I'm just drink. I've got a little sip of tequila here. Steve has a little bit of gin. Welcome to 60 Cycle Hum. My name is Ryan.
My name is Steve.
And this is...
this is 60 Cycle Hum.
I haven't even had...
You threw it off. You threw me off.
I haven't had a drink yet. And I already threw off the episode.
I haven't even had a drink yet.
Okay, hi, my name is Ryan.
And I'm Steven. This is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. It just says I support the current, the way it's sitting right now, which makes it seem like a surf shirt.
Yeah, well,
I support the current.
Isn't there like a
thing,
a fruit or a plant called the current?
It's spelled like that.
Yeah, the current.
That's the current.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Ryan.
Should guitar builders unionize?
I'm not qualified to answer this.
Have you ever worked a union job, Steve?
Yes. When I worked for UCSD, we were unionized. When I worked at Home Depot,
is that like a teachers union?
It was the research union, but because it was a state job. So I'm gonna move my mic. It was a state job, so there was a union to negotiate between the workers and the government of the state of California.
And then what was the other thing?
Oh no, that's the only place I've been, because everywhere else I've worked, they're like, if you say the word union, you're fired. Which some places, for what it's worth, like I worked at Home Depot when minimum wage was
land of the free.
I know.
Don't talk at work.
When I worked at Home Depot, I think minimum wage was like $6.25, something like that. Mm-hmm. But starting at Home Depot to just push carts, right? You're
right.
You're the cart guy. You don't do anything else. You push carts and you put concrete in the back of trucks. That's all you do.
Right.
You sweep the parking lot. And that paid $10 an hour in 2002.
That's pretty good.
I think 2002.
That was above minimum for sure.
Yeah. So that was basically the thing, is like, we pay you $10 an hour,
so you don't unionize. Yeah, which is the way it should be. Is that if you don't want your employees to unionize, you pay them like they're not going to unionize.
Yeah. Which I don't know how that translates. Like once you are a cashier, like you're an in the store person. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But as an 18-year-old who's pushing carts, where you're kind of like, wow, this is kind of. It's not construction, but as far as like jobs that you can just walk down and call it retail or retail adjacent, it's pretty backbreaking work.
Oh, totally.
Like push those big carts all day.
I worked,
or again, load, like I remember one Saturday I loaded like a full like 2 tons of concrete by hand.
Yeah, totally.
Like you're just 90 pounds at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. I worked a couple of union jobs. I was in the grocery industry for about 5 years total when I was working through high school and then college. I worked at Lucky's, which got bought by Albertsons, and then I worked at Costco for, I want to say, like 4 months. Oh, something like that.
I don't know if I realized Costco was unionized.
Well, the one that I was at was unionized because it used to be a price club.
Oh, okay.
So it was on Teamsters Union, and then the Lucky / Albertsons was the local food workers union.
Right.
I wonder if I could, the UFCW local 176. I could be totally wrong on that number, but they still send me mail.
Really?
Sometimes.
Really?
And I've moved 3 times, and they still track me down.
Yeah, is it the United Commercial Food Workers? Is that what it is?
Yeah, something like that.
Ted Leitner, who's a sportscaster, advertises for them on the radio all the time.
So let's connect this to the guitar industry.
Yeah.
There are grumblings of guitar workers starting to make moves in that direction, thinking about unionizing. There's a lot of unionizing in the news right now. As you know, inflation has raised faster than wages, while companies gleefully report record profits and things like that. And the workers are like, hey, what's going on. So what we're looking at right now is a photograph that someone sent to me from the Gibson break room, and apparently this only lasted about a day in the Gibson break room because someone higher up came down.
So does this
and
person
took it down.
work at Gibson?
I don't know.
Or they maybe just
don't know
somebody?
They were like, hey, check this out. This was in the Gibson break room. Now it's gone. So I don't know if they got it from someone else. I don't know who. I don't know the person. They messaged me. So this is, privileged information, maybe. I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but it's 3 different pages taped to what looks like the side of a fridge or something like that. Tired of broken promises and stagnant wages? Time to unionize! Email for support and more info, guitarmakersunion@gmail.com. Upper management doesn't care about you. In the past 6 months, let's see if I can read these pixels here, most model prices have increased while wages have remained stagnant. The new $1 cost of living increase will average out at less than a 4.5% pay increase, while inflation is at 8.6. There's not a lot of pixels here. We continued to work full-time during the pandemic with no paid COVID sick days. Our vacation days were reduced and allocated to new federal holidays as well as shutdown days. Our CEO bragged about going to concerts across the ocean that we could never attend even if we had the resources to do so, just to name a few. And then one more sheet. According to the National Labor Relations Board, you have the right to form, join, or assist a union. Blah, 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 blah. Your rights to form a union within the workplace and stuff like that.
So my first thought on this, Ryan, and I want to ask you, both of these posters here have 4 fonts.
This is the thing that you're going to be hung up on.
How do you feel about that?
It's not a graphic designers union, Steve.
I mean, I guess the kerning is fine.
No, I'm sure they made this in Microsoft Word and they did the best thing. It's fine, Steve. They're trying to unionize, Steve. Use as many fonts as you want. Seize the means of graphic production.
Oh man, sorry. That's I only noticed that stuff because of you.
Time to unionize in that big ol' heavy typeface with the lines and the drop shadow. They did a great job.
Oh
that.
yeah,
that looks killer. Yeah. Like no wonder, man. You know what? Honestly, it might be bad because management saw it right away and was like, no.
You know what I appreciate about these?
It stands out too much.
They didn't use impact at all.
They didn't. They did not. Thank you for not using impact. So I have a history of working for union, and it was a little bit back and forth for me because I was making minimum wage. I never got higher up in the company. I didn't want to get tempted to stay in grocery work. I was like, I'm staying.
I know what you mean.
No, I was like, I don't, because I met so many checkers that were like, yeah, I started when I was in high school and college, and then they got me stuck in here with the pension and the blah, 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 and they paid so good and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't want to get stuck here. I want to pay for my gas. I want to pay for my books, and then I want to leave when I graduate. And I should have moved to the meat department and just left when I graduated with money in my pocket. But I knew that I would be tempted to stay.
Right.
So, and I also didn't plan on working there 5 years.
Could have been a butcher, Ryan.
Could have been a butcher. I would have enjoyed being a butcher. But what I'm getting at is because I was working.
You could have spent all day handing people your meat.
Because I was
giving your meat.
I could have been fondling meat all day.
Giving your meat to beautiful men and women.
Could have been tugging meat all day. Because I was like one of the lower, paid, levels of employee.
Yeah.
It hurt a lot more when my union dues would get pulled out. So I was kind of back and forth like, man, is this even worth it? I'm freaking 17 years old. What am I going to use health insurance for? Yeah. Like I heal like the Wolverine over here. I didn't think about it that way when I was, that age. I think about it now like, I didn't need medical insurance back then. But there are protections and things that protect you from getting fired if you say like, oh, I need this time off. They can't just fire you because you asked for time off or something like that. Yeah. They can't fire you on a whim when you're in a union. Like there's really good things about being in a union. But there's also like negatives and stuff. And we've seen back and forth throughout history. Like there's times when we really, really, really need unions. And there's times where it's like, this is existing just to exist and to like be, a level of cronyism within, society or
Sure.
whatever. So then it starts to fade after that. And then we need it again. And I feel like, I'm sure a lot of people agree with me, we're at a place where we need unions again because, labor is being exploited. There's no other way to say it. Labor is being exploited right now. People aren't making enough money to live the lives to be the consumers that the companies need us to be. Like, companies, you're screwing the pooch here because all your employees can't afford to buy your wares, which means there's no one to buy your wares.
Well, I mean, we're very much in this wild economic scenario where, depending on your company, and I think, and this kind of goes back to, I don't think we really talked about it too much because everyone else did. Fender, laying off a bunch of people. Yeah. And kind of this thing where it's weird because companies are doing these like things that seem like cost cutting measures, while at the same time they're saying like, hey, we made so much money.
Remember, like it was 6 months ago, Fender was like, we have to raise prices because we've run out of inventory and we're trying to slow it down. Yeah. And now they're like, we have too much inventory. We need to get rid of workers. Like,
yeah, it's
figure out your balance. Like,
I mean, I think there's just something there that's like not being seen. And then
well, it's kind of sounded like quality control took a dump because, I mean, maybe this is all just making assumptions that workers weren't happy. They're being run too thin. They're being run too ragged.
It could be that, or it could be like, hey, in order to keep up with the production line, QC has to go from examining, I don't know, 16 guitars a day to 30 guitars a day. So, instead of getting to spend, I say 16, like I'm thinking like half an hour per guitar.
Yeah. So something,
and now it's like, you got to do more. Well, in order to do more, you got to do it faster, which means you're going to miss more stuff.
Yeah. And if you're doing it more, you end up caring less. It's just like, this isn't a guitar anymore. This is just factory, like stamp it. My line of thought here is obviously you can't unionize the entire guitar industry. There's too many mom and pops. There's too many like 2-person shops, 1-person shops, things like that. There's too many independent builders. But like, I don't see any reason why the big couple US-based guitar manufacturers that very proudly proclaim we have USA-built instruments shouldn't have union workers. Their product flow, their product availability should be stable enough that they can support a union workforce. And maybe if they, if they're taking enough care of their employees, that it won't be requested or needed. But if everyone, say, in the Taylor factory is making, good enough money, and I don't know what they make right now. I don't. It making, as an example, a hypothetical, is making enough money that the people in the Fender factory are like, hey, they're making better money than us, and they've got benefits over there.
Yeah.
Our benefits aren't great, and we're not making that much money. Like, we should organize and see if we can get at least what they're getting. Like things like that. Like, I think it would be smart, especially with these brands that really push as a marketing thing, USA made. Like, here's a USA made thing, and they push it as like an upsell. You want to buy USA. Well, do we want to buy USA if the workers feel like they're, in the same conditions that people imagine, people are in China?
Right.
If they're not making enough money to live, if they're having to rely on government assistance to live, if they're afraid of termination for, simple requests and simple things and stuff like that, if they don't have the benefits that, make working worthwhile and stuff like that. Like, this is the guitar industry, and people pay for USA made instruments. Some of that profit margin should be going into the pockets of the workers who are providing that value. So that's my hot take on it. What do you think, Steve?
Well, one thing I'll say is it is interesting to me that you brought up that you kind of, and it's the local brand, so you kind of default there.
Well, I didn't want to just be Fender and Gibson because there's more.
It's Taylor, but Taylor's interesting because Taylor
is employee owned.
Did an ESOP about a year and a half ago, which means they're moving towards 100% employee ownership, which is a lot of people feel like in the hip arts and crafts world, like that's kind of the way to go. I don't know what the pros and cons are. I do agree that like I think that there are advantages to having, whether you're doing it through a union or whether you're doing it because you're just treating your workers really well. We don't know what the conditions of any of these guitar factories are. There's definitely something to like, hell, we're made in the USA, and to have your
There's
employees
plenty of people
out there like being like, hey, we are very happy here. And literally, I've never heard. I've known a few people who worked at Taylor, and I've heard them complain about individuals that everybody makes, my boss is a dick. Like,
sure.
Raise your hand if your boss isn't a dick.
It's a factory.
This guy.
Are you going to unionize, Steve?
Yeah, it's going to be me. Ryan, the employees of 60 Cycle Hum have some demands for you. What do you want, Steve?
It's a factory where people are working. It's, just because you're making guitars doesn't mean you're playing guitars. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's a dream job necessarily. Like it can be tough working conditions. And a lot of times, like we see comments come in when I cover some import guitar, like, oh, it was probably made in a sweatshop, blah, blah, blah. There's sweatshops in the US.
Yeah.
They're just hidden. Or they do things to get around regulations and things like that. There are plenty of manufacturers in the U.S. who are abusing their employees.
Yeah, or legally they're not sweatshops per se. Sure, but like
people are sweating.
Well, it's the whole thing. Like,
or there's dangerous.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got to be like 20 years ago now. 15, 20 years ago, American Apparel was running sweatshops like in the middle of Los Angeles. They were like. They're technically legal operations. Like they weren't doing anything illegal. They were just paying all of their like seamstresses or whatever, they're sewing people like minimum wage to make tri-blend shirts that they were selling for $25 a piece, and they wouldn't turn the air conditioner on or whatever.
Right. Like unfavorable working conditions when you know that there's money to make the conditions better and things like that. I'm for it. I'm for, if we're going to have pride in American made instruments, let's have pride in our American crafts people.
Sure.
Let's have pride in the people doing the work to make them.
Yeah.
We're willing to pay an upcharge for that made in USA sticker.
Yeah.
So why not pay a little bit more so that the employees can get some of that profit margin that all the CEOs are bragging about, or just to make sure that everyone's taken care of and it is a desirable industry to be in the rest of the time when there's not, huge windfalls from pandemics and everyone's stuck inside buying massive amounts of hobby, toys and things like that. I'm for it.
I wanted to do some quick math here. Nope.
And
so whatever shop this was in, whoever this is, whatever job they're talking about, gets paid about $22 an hour. Is that good? Is that bad? Because it says new $1 cost of living increase will average out to less than 4.5%.
Wow, you're doing some math there. So
if $1 divided by 0.045, which is 4.5%, is $22.22. So they're somewhere in the $22 to $23 range.
Imagine you are building.
Again, I don't know if that's good or bad because I don't know what the cost. Nashville cost of living is probably higher than that.
But still, like, think about the man hours. The man hours are the most expensive part of building a guitar.
Well,
think about the man hours that go into building a Gibson.
Yeah, and a big conversation.
$22 an hour.
And the big conversation in this last year, it has been, with rising inflation, a 4.5% pay increase in a normal year is like not bad.
Not bad.
But when a 4.5% pay increase when your company is still reporting profits and maybe even reporting record profits,
you probably are seeing upper management popping champagne.
Yeah, but inflation is 8.5%. You're actually taking a 4% pay cut.
Exactly. So. And it sounds like they're cutting off time and things like that.
Yeah.
And the way a lot of industries were, the people were not given paid sick time during a pandemic, which is bonkers, which is really, really upsetting if you think about it. I mean, I'm self-employed. I don't get paid time when I'm sick. That's my own choice, but like I had an experience when I was working grocery where I got a flu that knocked me out for about a week and a half. And I called in sick like my 4th day in a row. And the manager was like, hey, if you don't get a doctor's note, if you're calling in sick today, if you don't come in with a doctor's note to prove that you were sick, then you can't come back. And he knew that I didn't have medical insurance yet.
Right.
I hadn't applied for it yet. So he knew that for me to go to a doctor, it was going to cost me real money. And so he knew that he was telling me I had to come to work sick. And I did.
Right.
And he knew that I was at work sick. And that kind of treatment is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that was...
I hope you coughed on him.
I probably coughed on a lot of people that day.
Hope you,
no, it wasn't... It was like I was pale. I was cold sweating. I was
Right.
shaking. I was weak. It was that whole thing, Yeah. I wasn't coughing or throwing up or anything like that. But
That's
man,
too bad.
I wasn't... I shouldn't have been on my feet.
I hope you gave him COVID.
It was in the late 90s, Steve. For a flu to knock a teenager on their ass for a week, it was
Yeah.
a beefy flu.
Yeah.
A cow flu. Beefy flu, cow.
Yeah. I got it.
I feel like there's another angle to attack this with. I'm rooting for if there is room, if there is need for employees of guitar manufacturers to unionize. I hope that they're successful. I hope that they're able to do it. This is a skill set that is not like anyone could. Like Starbucks is unionizing. A lot of people could work at Starbucks. Not a lot of people can build guitars. So your labor is valuable. Get the value of your labor. And you know what? Honestly, like it's not an official union in any sort of way. But when all the guitar YouTubers started talking to each other and started hanging out and having events and stuff like that, it felt like we unionized.
Right.
Because we all started trading, like sharing our rates with each other, sharing experiences with brands that we worked with. And I honestly think it made us all much more independent. It made us so that we could all just tell brands that are asking us to do shady things to just take a hike. Cause like, I don't need to work with you.
Yeah.
Like I know that other people told you to take a hike. I'm going to tell you to take a hike too.
Yeah.
I
feel like you guys have less of a union and more of a confederacy.
It's more of like a guild.
It's like it's kind of like a pirate's code.
Yeah, it kind of is. But it's kind of like if I'm talking rates, like, hey, what are you guys charging right now? And the Europeans are going to think that we're price fixing. That's not what's going on. But like, if I'm talking rates with someone and they're like, oh, I'm charging this much. I'm like, dude, you're a bigger channel than me, and I'm charging more than you. I can get the rate that I'm commanding. You can get more. Like that's a healthy exchange to have.
Yeah.
That's not price fixing because it's not like, hey, everyone don't charge less than this. Like, of course, everyone has to charge different because we're all different sizes. What else is? Oh, I was going to say, if I could go back in time, because I know now.
If I could turn back time.
I know now that legally in America, you are protected to discuss your wages with your fellow coworkers.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And I was raised with that, oh, it's rude.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to discuss wages and stuff like that. If I could go back to the last office job that I had that was a graphic design job, but I wasn't getting paid very well at all, I would freaking print a shirt because it was a shirt company that said my hours, it said my wages on it. Like
just print your paycheck on a shirt.
Not my paycheck. I would just say it would say $13.75 an hour. And everyone that day would know exactly what I make. And then people would be like, oh, he makes way less than he should. I'm going to stand up for him. Or like someone else would be like, you make that much? I do more than you. And everyone should tell their coworkers how much you make. Tell them.
Yeah.
Tell them what you're getting paid. Find out what they're getting paid.
My take on it is, and I don't 100% disagree with you. I definitely grew up in a place where like we didn't talk about money. And it's actually really interesting when we were doing the house hunting thing. My mom called me and she's like, how much she's like, I know I've never asked this. How much do you make? And I told her, and then I told her like, this is what I make. And I'm in line to get a raise this year. And I've been told that the raises are supposed to be good this year. So this is where we're at. This is what we think we can do. And she was like, oh, that's way more than I thought you were making. I was like,
thanks, Mom.
I was like, yeah, like, well, the thing is just because like my parents are retired. So I don't think they really think about it, but
they haven't thought about modern wages in a while.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say from my perspective is, I will talk about wages with coworkers over like a beer after work.
Sure. Don't do it on company time.
I mean, sometimes I'll do it on company time.
Okay,
but I mean, like,
sure, do it on company. But like,
what I mean by that is like, I don't. I like talking about it over a beer after work or whatever.
After I said I wear my wages on my shirt,
it's kind of like my way of being like, I don't discuss wages with people who I think are going to be dicks about it.
Sure.
Like who are going to like, what? Steve makes that much? I'm going to go talk to the boss right now. It's like, all right, you are like, you're too not chill to work here.
Right.
Like use that number in your next performance review to tell them how much you think you're worth. And then they'll be like, oh, that's weird. That's the exact amount of money that Steve's making. What a coincidence.
Right.
Like,
or
be smart about it.
Or like shoot your shot. Like, I'm worth more than Steve.
Yeah, blow your load, man. Whatever. That's on you. You do you.
So I feel like we hit this. Part of the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I know that people in the industry watch and listen to this show. And if you feel like this is something that would benefit you, maybe it'll be a benefit to you to hear us discussing it and know that, you know, maybe this is something you should pursue.
Yeah, it's a skilled trade.
Or maybe you totally disagree. Maybe
skilled trades. Most of your skilled trades, I think, are at least a lot of them have unions. So
and then
why not?
You establish these big U.S. brands, go union, and they have a very set kind of compensation plan and things like that. Yeah. And then the small builders, if they want to grab talent, they can be like, we pay above union.
Yeah.
You know, it's standardized. They're like, we pay more than union. Or like, you know, you're working for some small luthier and they're not treating you right. And you're like, I could go get a union job. Mm-hmm. It gives everyone leverage, which is what every industry needs, is you need leverage. If there's no leverage, then you're stuck in a sweatshop.
We're just talking about capitalism, guys.
Yeah. And it's, for the record, like, I'm not a full-blown socialist or communist or anything like that. I love capitalism. I love money and buying things.
I love gold.
I also love getting the value of my work and using, you know, my intelligence and the value of my work and the value of others' work that do the same thing as I do to leverage my side of capitalism. I want mine too, and you should want yours as well. Don't let the higher ups get all of theirs and not give any to you. You take what's yours.
If you want Ryan to make a demo video to send to your boss about why your shop should unionize, just check out on our website, 60cyclehumcast.com. There's a link to marketing rates. And speaking of marketing rates, let's do some housekeeping.
Let's do it.
This week we got some new folks at the $1 level. Sequence of Numbers. That's the name.
Oh, that's their name. They're not just a sequence of numbers.
It's literally Sequence of Numbers is the word. This is the name that was given.
Okay.
Mervyn's. And at the $5 level, White's Luftmeer.
White's Luftmeer.
White's Luftmeer. I probably butchered that. I think it's Dutch. So
yeah.
I haven't read any Dutch in a while. So well, I should back up. Housekeeping is a part of the show where we talk about our Patreon. If you want to support this show for as little as $1, like some of these folks, head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumcast. Everything you put into this helps support the production of this program. So thanks.
You know the Dolly like AI image generator thing?
Yes.
I was playing with that the other day, and my son was in the room, and we were playing with it, and he was like, just type in a bunch of random letters.
Okay.
And so I did it. I just like bashed on the keyboard for a while, and I entered it in there, and it showed me a bunch of like really picturesque, like cold weather, tundra mountains and rocky shorelines and stuff like that. I was like, what is going on here? And I realized it thinks I just typed something in like Icelandic.
Oh.
And
Interesting.
I showed Henry what Icelandic looks like, and I'm like, this is exactly what happened. It thinks I wrote something in Icelandic.
I was listening to the Tone Jerks the other day, and I don't know if they're, whenever I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, you always kind of zone in and out. I think they were talking about Dolly, like the full generator.
Yeah.
To do like album art.
Oh yeah, totally.
That you go in and be like, okay, I want like picturesque mountains, and then so it gives you a thing, and then you're like with a volcano, and then it like will just add things like that.
No, totally. No, I on our topic call out.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, when I had that clay microphone.
That clay microphone was dumb though. Is that your example of a Dolly success?
No, that was Dolly.
Okay.
That was like a first attempt. I just wrote in like
microphone.
Clay microphone. And that's what it gave me. It gave me a clay microphone.
All right, for the next,
like if you want to, like here's the thing, like I look at that as a creative tool, as a graphic designer. Like some people might think like, oh, artists are screwed because now you can just ask for stuff. No, that's a jumping off point.
Right.
Like that's a mock-up. Like you mock up different looks, you mock up what's like kind of what it comes up with, and then it gives sketches for you to play off of and come up with concepts. You can look at it like, I like that, but I want it like this. I'm gonna do it my own way, or I'm going to keep working with this. And there's creativity involved there and stuff. So I don't know.
All I know is
I think it's cool technology.
Your 20 iterations of Steve Puppet did not turn out too good.
But like my 5th iteration of Ryan Puppet turned out pretty good. It's really cute. It's my Facebook avatar right now, and it's really cute.
All right.
It really nailed me.
This was sent by...
But I did final photoshopping work on that. I still had to have creative input into it on my side, All right, we're getting into an ad.
Yeah, this ad was sent by Kevin Hernandez. This is a used PV 2-channel 20-watt amp with custom paint job 6505 mH.
This is our first ad off of Sweetwater's Gear Exchange.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Sweetwater. You've made it. We're making fun of something on your site.
I think this is a Re-Tolex. I don't think this is paint.
Yeah, it says that it's repainted. That's got to be Tolex.
Like if it's repainted, it's
because it's not
so
just
good.
It's not just that it's orange. It is that orange. Like
it's orange. It's an orange amp.
No, it's that orange amp Tolex where it has the tweed texture underneath the plastic. And I'm gonna look up a PV 605 MH. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have that style Tolex. I think it just has the bumpy. 6505.
Now you're the one who's Googling.
The
rest of this is it's got kind of the metal faceplate, but it's got a tiger, like a Japanese or Chinese. No, it's maybe like a Thai style.
Yeah, it's the bumpy, just normal Fender black Tolex.
Oh yeah,
on the standard one. So this has been re-Tolexed. It hasn't been repainted. But yeah, it has like a fabric cover on the front that's kind of got like this Ed Hardy like affliction. Like,
is that what you get from it? Because I'm getting like
Asian.
I'm getting like
approximation. Street fighter. Like no, it's that busy tattoo art.
Yeah. Okay. I guess
leaning into like inauthentic Asian themes kind of fabric here. I mean, it's a cool fabric. It looks really awesome, and I love the connection of the tiger to the orange Tolex and the black hardware and stuff. It looks great. The question is a Tolex job and a fabric cover worth an extra $150? I think is the up.
That's what you said earlier,
or maybe it's like 125.
6505 mH.
I mean, clearly this is used, and here's another used one for 409. So you're you're up paying on new, and you're definitely up paying on used.
Yeah, you can get one of these on Zounds for 700. I'm
seeing one for 629 on Zounds, but it's used.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a new one.
So you're significantly up paying what you would need to pay for this amp to get the look.
Yes, $150 more. It's really seems really well done.
I would just ask around to find out how much it costs to get someone to re-Tolex something for you. Because if you can get one of these used for $400 and you like that look,
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's.
I bet
gonna
you can get someone to re-Tolex it for $200.
Then you got to find that Tiger. If you don't got that Tiger on your amp, how are people gonna know?
Don't get the Tiger. Get what you want.
How are people gonna know that this amp really growls?
Go down to Joann's Fabrics and get the fabric that you want.
What fabric would you want, Ryan?
Probably dinosaurs. Like little kid bedsheet dinosaurs.
Is this the same? Is this the same amp that you had over here for Guitar House? No, that wasn't a PV, right?
No, that was
5150.
Yeah, that was an EVH,
combo.
which is like it's ghost built by Fender or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was. I mean, same spirit of the
Sure.
amplifier. You know, I'm sure they sound fairly similar.
Same spirit, Eddie Van Halen.
Right. Now that he's a ghost, you think he's a
No,
ghost?
I mean, all I know is have you.
I don't want to be disrespectful, but
I noticed that, like, you know, sometimes every once in a while I'll be listening to Van Halen song and I pick up some haunting mids.
like sometimes like you hear like a tap on your window, and you're like, "Is there a ghost outside my window?" But if it's Eddie Van Halen ghost, it's double tapping on the window. Two-handed.
Yeah, I get it.
That's a terrible joke. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry
We
to
just
the
lost-
family
we
of
just
Eddie Van
lost-
Halen. I'm sorry to all his fans. I'm sorry.
We just lost 5 people who take Eddie Van Halen very
Make
serious.
your own jokes in the comment section.
Yeah. You got anything else on this?
I don't know if anyone should buy it. I think it's a compelling look, and I think people should do customization to their amps more often. But when they want to keep them,
Yeah.
if you're going to resell them, maybe don't do that. You know, there's different types. I say that. I realize in my life, there's 2 scenarios in which I modify something. It's either because I really, really love it, and I want to make it my own because I know I'm going to keep it forever. Like the Jag Stang over there. I got it. I paid to have it sparkle finish because I love it. And then there's the modifications I do because I don't love something and I'm trying to make myself love it. You know, like, I don't like the sound of this pickup. Let's put a new pickup in there. It just turns out it's the guitar that I don't like. I got to get rid of this thing now. You know, what are you looking for? Our sponsors' products?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with Stringjoy then.
All right. This episode is brought to you by Stringjoy. Check this out. We got a bunch of Stringjoy strings here. This is some really nice packaging. We can comment on the packaging now. We got a bunch of 9 to 42s on one side. Are they all 9 to 42s on one side? And then the other side over here, we got some 11 to 50s. No 10s, huh?
Nope, 11s and 9s.
Interesting.
The 11 to 50s are the Mike Adams Pusheen gauge.
Oh, okay.
So I've been wanting to put those on my offsets and things like that. And then I got the 9s for everything else.
Yeah.
So,
But if you don't like any of those, Stringjoy has all kinds of options, or you can build your own
custom
pack.
build a set. I didn't ask him to send this many. I was like, send it as many as you think we could use. And then he said, I'll send 12 of each. And I'm like, we'll use that many strings eventually. But you can order as many sets as you want in as many combinations as you want. Get into the custom string set builder, and you can come up with some wild and crazy string sets.
Head on over to stringjoy.com or click the link. We got an affiliate link down in the description. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm putting that affiliate link. If I'm not, apologies to everybody.
Well, it's not like an affiliate earning link, but I think it's like a tracking link or something like that. Yeah.
It's a show link.
It's a show link.
This episode's also brought to you by Demonic Machines.
That's right. Right here in my hand, upside down, I'm holding the $50 fuzz.
Yep.
It's a fuzz for $50, guys, and it's got one big knob on it. What else do you need to know? You got $50 in your pocket right now. I know it. I know you do.
Actually.
Check, Steve.
I'm not checking. That's awkward.
Whip it out. I want to see it. Go check them out. Demonic Machines. They've been supporting the show for a while now. We're good friends with them. They're good friends with us. Support them the way they support us. Lucky was on the live stream the other day.
Yeah.
Lucky from Demonic
Yeah.
Machines. He was a hoot. What now, Steve? Another ad?
What's new, man?
What's
We're gonna talk about what's
new?
new.
I went to another concert. I've been starting to ramp up the concerts that I go to.
Oh, what'd you go to?
And this one was like a full-blown festival, Steve. That's right. I went to a festival.
How did you not get COVID?
That's because I had COVID too recently. I'm still immune. I went to Tiki Oasis. Robert, fan of the show, probably viewing right now, was like, hey, are you going to go see the Surfer Jets when they play in San Diego? I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't know they were playing in San Diego. I looked it up. They're playing Tiki Oasis, which is a gigantic Tiki convention that takes over an entire hotel here in San Diego. And I was like, well, I don't have tickets to that, and I'm not going to buy them because they cost like $200 a piece.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. But I hit up Surfer Jets, and I was like, hey, you want me to come film? If you've got guest pass, I can come film for you. So they very generously got me a guest pass. I went in there. I filmed their entire set.
Cool.
I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to send them the entire set. And I think I'm going to do a video where I cut up kind of my favorite moments and little talking points that I want to cover about the Surfer Jets and publish it as a video on this channel as well. But I had an excellent time. It was a lot of fun. I not only got to see the Surfer Jets play, I also got to see Go Go Gorillas.
Go Go Gorillas.
Which are viewers and fans of the channel. So they might be watching right now. They've made, I got to talk to them, and it sounds like they've made purchases based on things I've done on the channel.
Very cool.
Also, I got to see Measure Chups, which
yeah.
is a Russian band that is pretty high up there in
I don't think
in
I
the
realized
modern.
they were Russian.
They're Russian. They're pretty high up there in the modern surf guitar scene. So it's pretty exciting for me to get to see them. Oh, who else played? The Volcanics. I'd never heard of them, but they were a lot of fun too. It was a great time, and I got to connect with a lot of people that I know and stuff like that. I had a couple people come up to me and be like, hey, is Dinosaur Ghost playing? And I was like, no, we haven't played in quite a while. But Dinosaur Ghost has played like the room parties at Tiki Oasis a couple times, and man, it's always been just a blast off. So I'm really stoked that I got to go. I got to hang out with the Surfer Jets a little bit afterwards. I bought them dinner with Inner Circle money.
Dang.
So we were getting hotel food, and the check came, and it's like, you know what? This is on me. Actually,
baller move.
This is on the Inner Circle. So thanks, Inner Circle, for buying the Surfer Jets some after show late night nachos and tacos and burgers.
Ryan, if you had a PayPal debit card, it would be that much easier to track.
That's true. That's true. I wouldn't have to figure it all out, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good point, Steve. Steve is trying to get me to get a PayPal card. I think he gets like a commission or something if I do.
I don't. I wish I did.
Do you have anything new?
Yeah, not really for me, but pretty cool for the community, for this side of the industry, I guess. Is Get Offset just is doing their 200th episode.
Congratulations!
As of this release, it would have recorded yesterday, so they got to 200 episodes.
4 years, right?
So that's about just under 4 years. So it's a big deal to get to that big of a number.
It's a big number. It's got 2 zeros on it.
Yeah, and it's got a 2.
Yeah, 2 zeros and a 2.
Yeah,
that means it's 4 episodes.
20 what?
It's 4 years. That's the math, right? No, congratulations. Get Offset, Emily, Andrew, everyone else that's been involved. I know Andrew is on a hiatus from the show, but he was there for the vast majority of it. And Joe's on there now.
Yep, Joe's on there now.
And congratulations. Here's to 200 more. You know, that glass is empty. I'll drink from this one. Congratulations, Get Offset. All right. Anything else we need to cover? Do we want to do mail?
Open something? Let's open something.
Let's do some mail.
We got some time.
I'll open this letter. And Steve, you can open this.
What? I know what this is. It's very exciting.
Where's my blade? I was reaching for my blade that's over by you. There you go. Finally, they sent it, Steve. My plaque was so fast, and then it took forever for me to get your plaque.
I think that's how it normally is.
It was silly. All right, what do we have? Oh, we've got a Garbage Pail Kid sticker. Oh, I don't know if I want to use this on the guitar. That's too...
That's like vintage.
It's from 1979.
Whoa.
You can't just peel that and put it on the Cyclone. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not gonna do that. I think I will put this in a collection somewhere. I think I have a bunch of Garbage Pail Kids. This is a Wacky Packy, not a Garbage Pail Kids. But actually, the t-shirt company I worked for, we had Wacky Packages as a license. And I think I printed this one on a shirt. Hawaiian Punks. Bloody Nose Red. Beats you to a fruit juicy pulp. Great offer that you can't refuse. I'm not going to put that on the guitar. All right. What does
read the note now?
This note say? I love that it's on a ripped piece of paper. Hi, Ryan and Steve. I'm submitting this sticker to be placed on the guitar.
Gotta place on the guitar.
A 1979 Wacky Packages trading card. When I was a kid, I wore a t-shirt with an iron-on transfer of this design. I think it explains a lot about me. Enjoy. Less stress. What does it say on the envelope?
Oh, it's Pete. It's Pete from over there.
Pete from over there.
He's one of our Patreons.
Gotcha.
And he's got like a trillion guitars on Discord.
Let's
always post them in Discord.
Let's see what eBay says the value of this is.
Oh my gosh.
I will feel bad if I don't put it on there.
You should just put it on there. It doesn't matter what it's worth.
Hawaiian Punks 1979 sticker. What if this is worth it's worth $40, Steve.
Put it on there. That's what it's for.
I'm gonna put it in a place of honor.
Put it just put it on the headstock. It can be
fit.
Can be the only thing on the headstock. Well, can you put on? Oh, almost.
It might just fit. I didn't plan on putting anything. This feels so wrong. It's a $40 sticker, Steve.
Well, that's what someone's asking for it. That's not what they're getting for it.
All right, there we go. That way, whoever wins this thing can leave it there and they can see it. It's very well placed on there now. It's in a place that's not going to get damaged or removed when you remove the layers and layers of other stickers we're putting on this. When all the pink paint is completely covered up, we're going to give this away somehow. I don't know how, but there are still a few little pieces of pink left. I think if you guys all rushed us like, I'm going to say like 20, 30 stickers, we could call this done. That's my estimate.
Only if you put them in the right places.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you, Pete from over there. Like, that's very generous of you to send us a $40 sticker. Right now, he's like, I didn't know it was worth $40.
Send it back. Send it back. No. And this is the other. This is.
Congratulations, Steve.
Thanks. We did it.
You can high five too.
My daughter.
We can hug and kiss if you want.
All right. Everyone wants to see that.
If you want to see that, join at the $2,000 Patreon level. When you get 6 months of patronage underneath your belt, Steve and I will make out on video.
Oh my gosh, nope. Maybe.
Steve,
we'll see.
$2,000 a month for 6 months. You wouldn't make out. You wouldn't make out with me for $6,000. It's $6,000, Steve.
You will do anything for $6,000.
It's an unimaginable number. Like, how can you imagine $6,000? It might as well be $1 billion.
I would get pissed on outside of the asparagus restaurant for $6,000. Jeez, man.
Classic bit.
Also, I'm pretty sure if you're making out, like you can't do that at a Patreon level. I think that breaks the terms of service.
Oh, does it? Because it's like it's like we're making pornography or something.
Yeah, something like that.
We could
be wrong.
We could just tell everyone we did it.
Maybe it's only if it's like full nudity. Maybe if it's
we'll put more clothes on than we would normally wear.
We're gonna wear parkas.
I'll wear a hat.
Oh my gosh. All right, this was sent by Greg. This is a 12-string Telecaster. It's from Cozart, custom handmade. I don't know if I believe that. But this is...
Yeah, I've never heard of the brand before. But this is $175, so who cares?
Hard to find 12-string Tele style guitar can deconvert to 6-string and still have a unique looking Telecaster guitar. Plays well as a 12-string for that classic twang. Please leave phone number to contact.
I really, really, really like that plywood look. Like, that's really cool. And I can tell the rest of this is cheap parts and stuff.
Yeah.
Possibly on a kit guitar that someone just put their brand on or whatever.
No, Cozart's a brand.
Cozart's a brand?
Yeah.
Do you think... I like that. I don't know if it's a photo print or something like that, but if that's real like sanded plywood, that's a cool look.
Yeah. It's also like C-Muse. I don't know if that's the same company.
Right. It's some import knockoff sort of thing.
Yeah.
$175, I'd buy it for the body. I think it's a cool look. I don't care about the rest of it. I mean, it's a 12-string. You've been itching to try a 12-string? Might as well get one that looks cool, and I think this one looks cool. What do you think, Steve?
I don't like the headstock.
Well, it's a 12-string, Steve.
I guess I'm a hater. Oh, here's the email. Yeah. If you compare the Cozart guitar with the standard... This is from the website. If you compare the Cozart guitar with standard 6-string guitar, they have the following differences. The body of the guitar is reinforced to make a strong and sturdier structure to ensure there is resistance against the tighter tension value.
The body doesn't
true?
need to be reinforced if it's a solid body. They make 12-string Dan Electros that are hollow. Are
the
you kidding me?
headstock has over 12 tuning machines, which are possible by integrated the elongated configuration.
Why does it have over?
The fretting board is small to reduce the string tension and ramp up the playing experience. There is a strong reinforcement of the neck to accommodate the 6 additional strings.
None of this copy matters at all or makes sense. Here's my question, Steve. Are you, when you pick up a 12-string, do you prefer the high octave of each pair to be on top or underneath?
I think underneath.
Because this is a top one.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think that's the Rickenbacker thing. I can't remember. I know there's 2 different styles. Either the tiny one on top or the heavy one on top.
I mean, I honestly don't know. I don't even remember the last time I picked up a 12-string.
I remember. I'll never forget. I have no idea if Steve's
I
ever
got
picked
my
up a
first
12-string.
real 12-string. Bought it at the 10 and 20.
The only reason I don't own a 12-string is because I don't like tuning that much. And when was the last time you saw a 12-string with a wiggle stick? That answers the question right there.
Played it till
Also-
my fingers bled. It was the summer of 138.
Generally, when you play 12-string, you're kind of expected to play it well, and I'm not going to do that. So there's that. I do enjoy
feel like
playing like
generally when
heavy
you-
fuzz wrist with them, though.
I feel like generally when you play 12-string, you just play cowboy chords.
Yeah. No, I like to play big doomy fuzzy riffs with 12 strings.
Or
It's
that.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't really have a lot of musical reason to have a 12 string otherwise.
You don't have much of a musical reason to own any of these
All
guitars.
right, okay. You were the one who was trying to get me to buy a harp the other day.
Yes, and
You think I'm going to be able to play a harp?
that's not the point. That wasn't the point. All right, this episode's also brought to you by Chase Bliss Audio. They make The Habit.
I was seeing on their Instagram the other day,
Habit.
they had this really freaking cool looking hand painted Habit. Go follow their social medias just so you can see cool stuff like that.
Habit.
It was rad looking. I kind of wish they would release a printed version of that art because I liked it a lot.
This
I'll say
episode's
that.
also brought to you by Big Ear Pedals. Make such pedals as the Albee.
Which I'm holding right now. It was upside down. Now it's right side up. They make cool pedals like the Albee and the Woodcutter and even the L. The Albee is a curated multi-effect with all kinds of effects across a 8-position selector switch with secret settings. So there's actually 16 different settings and they're all pre-dialed in for you. There's only a blend knob. You're not diving into submenus and stuff like that to come up with presets. They're all just there waiting for you. Choruses and reverbs and delays and all sorts of other fun effects. So go check out demos of that thing and say a little prayer or make a wish for Big Ear that they get their housing situation figured out because they're waiting to get stuff built when they can get into their house that is still being built. So pray that and wish that the house gets finished so that they can get more product out to the people that want it.
Yep. This last ad was sent by Michael Kraus. It's a giant Gibson, and it says, a very unusual display piece made by Gibson, dimensions 8 foot by 2.5 foot. So this is taller than you.
I want to know the scale, Steve.
And
And also, I don't think this is a real Gibson. The headstock doesn't look quite right. And look at the spacing in between the bridge and the bridge pickup. Like,
I've never seen a Gibson with that kind of bridge on it before.
This is screaming AliExpress to me. It's just big. It's 8 feet. It's 8 feet tall.
Yeah. Something about the pickup selector switch doesn't look. It looks like it's jammed.
You know, when I'm looking at the burst, the way that it interacts, kind of with the lower bout, just doesn't feel authentic to me. I'm gonna send this to Mark and see if he thinks it's authentic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and there's not that you look. There's missing the screws for the pickups. You know, like this. There's a lot of red flags here, Steve.
You know, this wasn't a 2014 model because it doesn't have a zero nut.
Right. I mean, that zero nut was pretty cool. Like, they did some weird stuff back then, but I kind of was into the zero nut.
When I look pretty closely at the pickups, I don't think these are actually humbuggers. I think they put 2 single coils in each pickup cavity.
You're probably right, Steve. This whole thing's a mess. Like, when you see Gibsons, like, you expect to see some oddities, but this is the whole collection of oddities, you know?
What's up with it's got like the rubber down electro stripe around the edge?
That's the binding, Steve.
I think it's look
at the output jack. It's an Audi.
Well, that's it's kind of like electro. Oh no, electro.
Yeah, but it's hanging out. It's hanging out, Steve.
It's kind of like a Neutrik.
Steve, the input jack is prolapsed.
Well, technically, that's an output jack.
There you go.
So
yeah, output, input. Well, you put it in, and then it puts out. You put something into it, and then it puts the signal out of it. So both are correct, in my opinion. If you want to argue that, like that, and look, there's no saddles on the bridge. There's no intonation adjustment.
No.
And they did a bottom round on the stop tail. Like, I don't know. It's not my style. But seriously, what scale is this, and why is it $1,000?
If really it's $1,000,
I want to get a tape measure.
Why do you think this is $1,000? Does it say it's $1,000?
Yeah, it says it's $1,000.
Oh, $1,000! Holy crap!
So I'm gonna do some rough guesstimation here. If this thing is 8 foot,
I think your normal guitar is like 37 inches.
I'm gonna bet that. I bet it's an 80-inch scale.
Nah.
No, I bet it's an 80-inch scale.
I think that doesn't. I don't think that's right.
How many times can we beat this dumb joke to death? Steve, the ceiling is 8 feet.
All right, the length of your Les Paul is about 39 inches.
Okay, he's gonna figure out the percentage and make it.
So
make
39
it all work.
inches. So we take 39. I'm going to use my phone calculator.
Oh my gosh, Steven he's a scientist, everyone.
39.
That's what he does.
So 96 inches, that's 8 feet. Divided by 39, it's 2.46 times larger. I'm going to make a very poor assumption that scale stays the same. So if we assume 24.75 and it's just bigger, that's a 60.9 inch scale.
Okay, it's not 80 inches.
And maybe it's actually a baritone. So say it's 27 inches.
It does look like it has a long ass neck.
Times at 2.4, that's closer to 65 inch scale. So,
All right.
Still not worth $1,000.
Yeah. Well, you know, guitars are valued by pound, and this might actually weigh enough to be worth $1,000. But look at how rough the cuts are around the headstock.
Yeah, it's kind of like Gibson didn't have their tooling set up to build a guitar this big.
You know what? It would look a lot better than this if it was built by union workers. Is all I'm saying. People who are secure in their jobs.
I get that.
Getting paid well.
You know, as bad as this guitar looks, though, it doesn't look as bad as the Firebird X.
Yeah, if you lined a bunch of these up, you'd have to get a really big, dump truck to roll them over.
How many of these do you think Fender made?
How many of these do you think Fender made? Fender doesn't make these, Steve. This is a Dean.
This is a Dean. Sorry. All right.
Now that's brand confusion.
This week's song was sent to us by Joan Braga, Joan of Heart.
Nice.
She says, hey, Brian and Steve, during the Get Offset live stream last night, Jason, also in the 60 Cycle Hum group, said in the live chat that I should send you the original song from my Ma demo for End of Podcast Play. Joe does these, I said Joan because it's there in her,
right.
Her music is Joan of Heart. She has a demo channel called Pedal Playground.
And it's a lot of fun, and you should go watch it.
It's a very, like, Pee-wee's Playhouse inspired.
I want to know how long she spends working on those animations.
I think the Ma one that just came out took something like 2 or 3 months. Because it's all, like, she's animating it all. Did she say that? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because she's, like, animating, like, I think the Ma demo, I'm doing this from memory, so I could get it wrong, and she's talked about it, but I think the Ma had something like 30 or 40 or 50 or I don't know, like, different mouths.
Yeah.
That were, like, drawn, and then she has to, like, animate it all, and she puts it all into the software that tracks, like, voices. And to animate it, but it's like a lot of work.
The labor of making the individual components and assets is real. Like, and
no, I mean
the work that went into that video is intense.
It's wild.
It's intense.
It's all.
For a demo video,
you got to come up with a script, not just for yourself, but for
the pedal.
Like basically what it comes out to, like 3 or 4 puppets. Right, they're animated puppets.
Remember when I used to do animations and little skits? It took forever.
Yeah,
I'd spend days and days working on the intro for a video, and then I'd spend way less than that working on the actual demo.
Yeah, so they're really cool. This is the song from the Ma demo, and we're gonna play it. This is from her.
And everyone go subscribe to her channel, by the way. Link in the description if we remember.
No, I made a note to put.
Okay.
Even though the day is long now, hold on to your life. Hold on to the passion that move you. Never let it die. Only all the power that drives you. comfort is the lie. The comfort is the lie. Comfort is the lie. The comfort is the lie.
Joe has a great voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed this.
Great, big, powerful voice.
Yeah. I listened to or I watched a lot of the mod demo. And so this is like I said, kind of said at the beginning, like all of the vocals on that, it was it's not all through the mod, it's like a split. So one side it was like clean vocal, but all the vocal effects, I believe, were done through the mod. So
Cool stuff.
super cool.
Bye, everyone.
Stay grounded.